Hey guys, it's Dustin, aka DNF. And question for you today, do you know what you want? And more importantly, do you know exactly what you don't want? For me, 5 years ago, I knew that I did not want to stay in the same role. And I took some partners and I figured out what was holding me back. And I became crystal clear on how to overcome what was holding me back. And since I've done that, I have quit. So this may sound funny, but I have moved on from 4 different jobs that paid me 6 figures. So being stuck where I was at, and like my goal was, hey, let me get to 6 figures. And now that I'm here, it's like you realize what you want, and more importantly, what you don't want. So my question for you is like, have you figured that out? What do you not want? And I think once you decide that, it's a lot easier to decide what you do want. And then you can create a game plan or partner with a coach or mentor to kind of help you figure that out. And that was an absolute game changer for me. So once I figured out what I did not want and then what I did want, and I had somebody help me get there. They helped, prep me. They helped interview prep. They help me identify what roles are coming open, things to think about, pros and cons of each move, and from there, it was a game changer because I then had that roadmap. So I did get that promotion. I did make that huge jump in pay into a higher role that ultimately, I was leading a much larger business. So, $4 million more. And then I grew it to where it would double the previous business I was running. Team was twice as big, twice as many managers I was managing. And really, I got to impact entire sector of the business on a much larger scale. I was doing things and we were doing things that a lot of stores were still struggling with because this was during COVID. People didn't really know how to bounce back from it. So we figured it out, and absolute game changer for me. But I knew what I did not want. Since then, I'm going to walk you through and just be as transparent as possible. Where I was at in Little Rock, I absolutely love. I built it from the ground up, but I didn't want to keep doing the same thing because I felt like it was defining me. Like people thought about me, they thought, oh, that's all he's capable of. So I wanted to prove to myself that I was more than that. I could do bigger and better things, and that my system and my leadership style would work no matter where you place me, no matter what industry you place me. And that's that takes a lot of confidence and a lot of bravery, thinking back, because before you prove it, I mean, it is just a concept in your mind. But I believed in it 100%. And if you don't know, my philosophy is people first. I think if you really invest in people and their development, that you will achieve any financial goal that you want. So, moving, figuring out what I didn't want. So kind of rewind. Did not want to stay in the same role. So I wanted to challenge myself and do something different. So partnered with a mentor, created a roadmap, and got myself there. And then delivered absolutely phenomenal results. So taking what my belief was that if you focus on people, get them in the right role, set some expectations, some boundaries, and have a clear vision of what you want. I knew that the magic number for this business was to get to $16 million. And we were a long way away. We were at $11 million before I got there. But that was the thing, when you got to that level, you got remodels, business. You could do a lot more things. You get additional headcount. So we were hyper focused on that, and I was hyper focused on that, and moving people around, finding out how long they've been in their role, what's the pros and cons, what do they want to do in their career, and then ultimately, focusing on that. They may not have had experience in a certain area, and I'll break down a couple of the key moves real quick. So one of my leaders was in the same role for 16 years, and he was consumer facing, leading the team because he's a great communicator, fun to be around. But ultimately, when I say that I was stuck in my career for 9 years, same role, he was stuck in his career for 16 years. So I, connected with him, challenged him, found out what he wanted to do in his career. So we were aligned, and I asked him to take a different role. So it's a lateral move, but over a different part of the business. So really reinvigorated him, reinvigorated his career. Same with almost every leader. I had 9 leaders. I moved 6 or 7 of them. And man, the engagement was just off the charts. So before I got there, I had the worst employee engagement in the district. It's about 10 to 12 stores. We were scored at a 63. By the time I left, we were at an 88. And we crushed every metric. We got to that 16 million. We went from making $0 profit to over 3 million. And man, it was so cool to see the growth of the team. And we didn't reinvent the wheel, just made a couple of strategic changes, a couple of operational changes, but more importantly, had a clear goal that we did not want to keep doing what we were doing, but we wanted to get to where we were going. And so proud of that. That was obviously a very challenging time in a lot of people's lives. So 2020, nothing like it that I've experienced. But man, we moved forward, and still, I still had that desire to continue to grow my career. So I wanted to do something totally different. So I went into the distribution world, supply chain. And honestly, I skipped probably 2 or 3 steps. And I was pretty naive. I thought that, man, within 2 weeks, I'll know what's going on. Within a month, I'll be an expert. No, it took me 3 months to even scratch the surface of what was going on. Much more complex business. I think I had 31 managers, about 250 employees. So, I wanted to make more money. And then again, that was an absolute astronomical bump. So that was about a 60% pay raise, if I'm not mistaken. Much higher level. I was then doing quarterly business reviews and, speaking in front of 1,000 people. But still, my strategy did not change. So people first, connect with the team, connect with the leadership team, find out how long they've been in their role, what are they good at, what do they enjoy about it, and where do they want to go in their career. So made some strategic changes and kind of created a game plan for those that were stagnant. And so that worked extremely well in an entirely different type of business. Talked to the managers below that, found out what they wanted to do. And I kept hearing the same thing over and over. Man, I've done the same thing for so long. I want to do something different, and much like what I wanted to do. So, you can't make all those changes at once, but you can listen to your people and start creating a game plan with them of, hey, let's get you some career experiences, some critical experiences, and then let's get you to this next role within the next maybe 3 months, or it may be 6 months, or it may be, hey, let's get you promoted. Your goal is to get there within a year. So let's create a game plan and get you there and see what critical experiences you need. Start building the partnerships. Then we'll talk about how to celebrate your wins and how to, craft that story that you're able to share and communicate. So once again, incredible results there. Wanted to move. So wanted to move back to Little Rock. So that was about 2.5 hours away. So I left the company altogether. So that was job 2 that I left, making 6 figures. And I got another job making even more, and much more complex business than what I had just been in. So I think, first and foremost, you start building the foundation of relationships, because If people won't work for you, you're not going to get the results. If you're a servant leader and you truly want what's best for them, you want them to grow, you want them to develop, you want them to get promoted, you want them to make more money, or if they're just there for a part-time job or full-time, they have no career aspirations, just make it the best job that they could possibly have. And by doing that, and I made a couple key personnel strategic moves, a few operational changes, we grew that business, which is trending down $1 million, to where we increased $1 million. So a $2 million swing. So we went from 39 million to 41 million. We were basically last in every metric, pretty much in the district, and some of the lowest in the company. So it was about 2,000 businesses there. And by the time I left, we were number 1 in the district, number 2 in the territory, number 3 west of the Mississippi, so half the United States, and top 2% sales increase in the company. And once again, did not reinvent the wheel. Had to strategically move people, what made sense for the business, what made sense for them as far as their career, and absolute game changer. And then we focus on a couple different operational pieces to really drive the metrics. And once again, incredible results. Was not really about working 80 hours a week. So after a year and a half, I moved on to something else, a new challenge, a completely different industry. And this was more hands-on. So I had to kind of take a step back and be more hands-on. I identified our key metrics that we wanted to go after. There was basically only 4 that the company really focused on. And I had a chart and I wrote it every week. The numbers would come out. I would have one-on-one discussions, told them what the goals were. And it was so incredible. So for the first 8 weeks, everybody had a green arrow pointing up, meaning their metrics were getting better. This was a bottom 10 business in the entire company. So we got off all those lists. And really that was just investing in them. So, So moral of the story is figure out what you don't want. I know it's a lot easier to say, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. But figure out exactly what you do not want to do anymore. And that will help clarify what you do want to do. Because you may want to just, hey, I just want to do something different. I want to see if my technique or strategy or management style or sales, whatever your industry is or whatever your strong suit is, can it correlate to a different industry? And the odds are, from my experience, going into 4 very drastically different businesses using the same strategy and technique, it does work. It absolutely does work. And my job is to help you get to where you want to be. If you want help in your career, that is that's my favorite thing to do. So there is absolutely no doubt that you can do whatever you want to do. The thing is just figuring out what you don't want to do anymore, and then clearly defining what you do want to do, and then creating a roadmap and getting there. And then, I think once you get to the actual interview part, that's the fun part. So, and that's what I struggled with for a very long time. I mean, I could tell you horror stories, but I'll save that for some other videos. But So in conclusion, the easiest way to get where you want to go is to figure out where you don't want to be anymore, and then aligning on where you do want to go, and partnering and having a clear, defined path. Because once you do that one time, you can do anything you want to do in your career. Nothing can hold you back, because you will be the person that you need to be to get there. You will know how to celebrate your wins. You'll know how to show up in interviews. You'll know how to find the right jobs. You'll know how to build the connections. So it's kind of a long-winded way to say, know where you're going and know where you don't want to go, and follow your heart, have a plan, and you execute it one time, and get help if you need help. I mean, I would not be where I'm at without getting that help. A lot of people along the way tried to help me, and I didn't listen. I wanted to do it my own way. until I actually listened. And then when I listened, I was able to figure things out of what was holding me back. And then once I figured that out, it's been, man, sky's the limit after that. So, man, I hope you enjoyed the videos. Leave me a comment in below if you want to chat. Reach out to me. Love to speak with you. That's it for this video. You have a great one.